Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Michelle.
And we are Cruisin with the Colemans. We are here at our house where we do all of our best planning for the next adventure that we have coming up.
It's actually where we get into the most trouble with.
We do get into a lot of trouble when we're planning. So we're here at the Aullwood Audubon Society in Dayton, Ohio. We have a link down below in the description, so make sure you want to check that out. And we are here today to see the troll who hatched an egg.
It's an exhibit by Thomas.
His name's down below too.
Oh, he's from Copenhagen, and he created this. It's new to Dayton. There's only 9, I think it said.
Exhibits in the world.
Yeah, and he created this out of materials that he found, and he expects that it will last about 5 years.
So we are kind of making a comeback to YouTube. If you missed us lately, we haven't put a lot of videos out. The last couple of months have been pretty busy. Getting back to full-time teaching in person has been a challenge. And so
being grandparents. And we turned 50, so that's exciting.
That is exciting.
I think. I created 50 goals turning 50. So if you want to find anything about that, follow hashtag year of 50 on Instagram and Facebook, and you can see how we're progressing on our goals. As a matter of fact, we checked. Well, we're working towards one of them right now.
We are. But you may be wondering what is up next for Cruisin with the Colemans, and where is our next big adventure going to take us? Michelle?
We are walking the Via Francigena.
The Via what?
The Via Francigena.
Yeah, I know, because everybody out there is like, what in the heck is the Via Francigena, right? So the Via Francigena is another pilgrimage trail. If you followed us along for very long, you know that we have walked the Camino de Santiago 2 different times. The Camino Frances in 2017 and the Camino Portuguese in 2019.
Which is actually where our YouTube journey began.
It is.
So if you watch our early YouTube videos, you'll see our walk on the Camino Portuguese.
And some very rough editing. I'm sorry now if you're going to go back and look. So the Via Francigena is a pilgrimage from Canterbury, England to Rome. Now, we are not walking the entire 1,100 miles.
I wish we could.
I wish, yeah, well.
Oh my gosh.
I wish we could. I wish we had the time to do that.
Yeah.
But we are doing a smaller route. So we are going to start.
Wait. Smaller?
A shorter route. We are going to actually start near the Swiss border, the Swiss-Italian border, and hike over the Alps through the Great St. Bernard Pass, and then south through Italy to Rome.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. How far are we going?
We are walking 700 miles.
It's a long hike.
When he said a shorter route, it's kind of crazy to think about. One of our first dates was at Brian's house, and we watched the movie Much Ado About Nothing.
Great movie. Link down below.
Fantastic movie. And it was then that we were like, oh man, someday we should go to Tuscany. Mind you, we were not engaged yet.
We were not engaged, but we were already planning someday going to Tuscany.
Yeah.
Well, then a few weeks later, we decided that's where we were going to go on our honeymoon.
And then we decided that that it wasn't the time. We both weren't adventurous back then. A short 16 years ago, we weren't adventurous.
Well, we both weighed over 300 pounds each, so that had something to do with it.
Yeah. So we didn't go. We went on a cruise instead.
Yes. Then, for our 10th anniversary in 2017, we hiked our first Camino de Santiago, the Camino Frances, where we walked from Pied-de-Port-France to Santiago de Compostela.
And then on to the end of the earth. Because
I walked to the end of the earth for this one.
Aww. So here we are, 15 years later. We've walked the Camino Frances. We've walked the Camino Portuguese. And we're like, we want to do something else. We want it to be a little different. So we decided for turning 50 and our 15th anniversary, we decided to walk the Via Francigena and walk through Tuscany. No matter what your adventure is, the Aullwood Audubon Society is a fantastic place to come and bring your kids to the farm for the next 5 years, come see the trolls. It is located between two fantastic metro parks. Dayton is known as the outdoor adventure capital of the Midwest, and we can say we know it is a fantastic place to play. It's located between Englewood Metro Park and Aullwood Metro Park.
And we're north of Dayton. We're up near Vandalia and Huber Heights.
So, Michelle, how do you plan to walk 700 miles through 2 countries?
You drink a lot of wine. No, I'm just kidding.
One of the countries is Italy, right?
It is Italy. You start by gathering as many resources as possible. So because we've hiked 2 other Caminos, we know the first place to start is Facebook, because the Facebook groups are fantastic. And there's actually a dedicated group for the Via Francigena. So we will link that Facebook group below. But it's about following the journey as early as possible, because right now I've been able to see like people who walked over the summer, like what the temperatures were like and what it was, what's open, because, it is 2021. And just see how people are going. And then we have a note in our phone. We could just take as many notes as possible and ask a lot of questions. Put your questions down in a note so that you have a place. And that's the best place to start.
And hey, here's another thing. Did you know the Facebook groups, when you're in any of those Facebook groups, regardless of the topic, you can always search in the group. So you might have a question, and rather just posting a question that shows up in the group every week because people ask the same questions over, just do a search and you can find out information about reservations or a particular town or gear. And if you search in the group for those questions that you have, or at least those keywords, you'll come up with a lot of information. And if you don't find something that that answers your question, you can look at the people who have posted, and then maybe message them privately or post a follow-up to that to get more information if you don't have enough.
Absolutely.
The other great resource, of course, is books. Now, Facebook is nice because it's up to the minute and it's always current, but we've got a stack of books here. We have 2 brand new guides written by Sandy Brown. These are great guidebooks that are specifically for the Via. And these are the 2 books that are for the route that we're planning on doing, the part of the route. The first part from Canterbury into Switzerland is actually in the works still. He's still writing that section of the book.
He just finished it. He's in the Facebook group. So you get to see his journey, which is exciting.
It's fantastic. Of course, just a plain old Italy travel guide, and then just a bunch of books.
Stories. These are stories that people have told.
Yeah, people's journey that they took, talking about it. We'll link all of these down below, Amazon links for all of these books, because there's some great books and some great reading.
An important consideration, first and foremost, is figuring out how much time you have when you're planning a Camino. Every Camino ranges in length, but you got to think about, okay, how much time can I realistically take off work?
The entire VF is 1,100 miles. So a lot of people talk about that taking 3 to 4 months to hike. Well, obviously most people can't take that much time off in their schedule. They're looking at maybe a 2-week vacation. So one of the popular routes on the VF is just a segment through Tuscany. I think it's about 150 miles, which you could easily do in a 2-week period.
Yeah. The other thing you have to plan for is that the days are going to be long. This is not like some of the other Caminos where you can get by with shorter days. We're looking at some days hiking for about 8 hours.
Yeah, some of the days are anywhere from 20 to 30 miles in one day. So we are spreadsheet pilgrims. We've never made any qualms about that. We've talked about it on some of our other videos. If you go back and look at our Camino Portuguese
That's when
planning,
we started YouTube.
It is. So we plan everything on a spreadsheet. So we started out with our spreadsheet planning. We listed out all the Via stops and the stages according to the guidebook that we're using. And now we're going to break those down into smaller routes because we don't want to hike 30 miles a day.
Yeah, it's not realistic for us. So we're going to figure out what what mileage is going to work for us and what stops are available. The other thing we need to do is monitor flights. So we have 2 apps that we use to monitor flights. And I do that as soon as possible so I can see the trend. I use Hopper and Skyscanner. Hopper I have found to be the most useful. It sends me notifications all the time on the flights that I'm watching. And we're playing different scenarios. So we're looking at what's it going to costs. We're here in Ohio, so Columbus is ideal. And then looking at flying to a major area in Europe, because once you're in Europe, you can fly just about anywhere. So the flight that I'm monitoring the most closely is Columbus to Lisbon. Why Lisbon?
Pastry. It's always about the food for us. But Lisbon was such a wonderful city. And if we could manage to get a 7 or 8 hour layover in Lisbon, I would not be sad to have to go down to the main part of Alfama and find some pastry and some coffee.
The nice part about the Lisbon airport is that you can easily get onto a train and get into downtown quickly and just have like a 7 hour layover and then fly anywhere. And it will cost you less than $100 to fly anywhere. And you think about it, when you do a Camino like this, you're starting in one place and you're ending in another. And so you really want to fly into the part closest to your beginning and you want to fly out of the closest to the end. So we're not really trying to find a flight to our end destination right now.
Then, of course, the next thing you want to talk about is we've looked at our stages. We know where we're going to go. So now what are we going to do about reservations? Now, on our first Camino, actually both of our first 2 Caminos in Spain and in Portugal, we left Dayton knowing all of our stops along the way and having reservations for every single night. We made some changes as we went. We canceled some reservations and changed them, but we left knowing.
So what are we doing this time?
No reservations?
Some reservations.
So one of the things we've learned from the Facebook group is that you need reservations on the VF. On this route, you need reservations. But for the most part, you're only going to be making them 2 to 3, maybe 5 days in advance. So as we go, when we leave Dayton, we'll have our first week's worth or so of reservations made. And then as we go, we'll be making reservations a couple of days in advance as we go. And we'll see how that works for us.
Well, the other thing we want is we're gonna have our touristy time at the very end booked. So we already actually right now have a little room in Rome overlooking the Vatican. So
and we have a booking already for Florence.
Yes.
And we'll be making a booking soon for Venice because we're going to stop in those 3 cities on our way home to have some tourist time.
So we know our start date and we know when we're going to be to Rome. There's flexibility in the middle. The other thing we're doing different is we're staying in different types of accommodations this time. So we're going to be staying in like what's called a hostel here in the United States. We're going to stay in monasteries.
Some B&Bs.
Some B&Bs, some
agriturismo, which is basically farms that work as a B&B.
A winery, maybe?
Maybe a winery or 2.
Maybe. Or more. So reservations are going to be, the spreadsheet is about knowing how much we can do in a day. So the reason we decided to make a spreadsheet this time is because we needed to know how many miles we can really handle because this is known for the long days.
And then the last part of our planning process is kind of our gear. So, of course, when you're hiking on a trip like this, a Camino like this, you only take what you're carrying on your back. You're not taking suitcases. On the Camino Francis, many people do have a suitcase that they send ahead on a daily basis or even on a weekly basis. This is not going to be the option on the VF because it is there's not the infrastructure for pilgrims. In 2005, I think I just read there were only, 1,200 pilgrims that walked the VF. And that was like one of the most recent dates that they had.
We may go days without seeing any other pilgrim.
So gear and backpacks and shoes and all of that for hiking is a huge deal. And if you start searching online, you will find hundreds and hundreds of opinions, and most of them stink. The big thing about gear is you have to use the best gear for you. Just because I say these are the best shoes in the world, they may be terrible for you and they may not be comfortable for you. The same goes for a backpack. I
have returned about 15 pairs of hiking shoes because I'm trying to find a new hiking shoe. We went out on the hike today, as you see in the video, and I think maybe I found a pair of hiking shoes, but it's early.
So we'll
25 more weeks.
We'll both be taking probably 2 pairs of shoes. The shoes we're wearing plus a backup pair, just to switch back and forth between the day or from the day and the evening, morning and afternoon. We'll be taking the clothes on our backs plus a change of clothes some extra socks, maybe an extra pair of pajamas or something like that to wear in the evenings. But it's not going to be a lot of clothing. So it's just what we can fit into our backpack, and
just some basic toiletries. It's, you know, not a third world country, so there's plenty of places, plenty of pharmacies where you can pick up any of those things you need along the way. So the hope is that we will start wearing our backpacks by the first of the year. So every time we go out for a walk, we're just going to have our backpack on, whether it's a little walk or something bigger, have it on so that we're always just thinking about that weight and have them ready to go.
So let's talk about training.
How do you train to walk 700 miles across Italy?
And Switzerland.
The Swiss Alps, no less. We're ready to start training.
All kidding aside, you get out and you walk.
We're doing more than just walking, but consistent walking day after day, even if you can only walk 2 or 3 miles. You want your body to be used to moving every day. Yoga for flexibility.
Strength training.
Strength training is so important.
Got to carry
honestly,
that backpack.
Yeah, walking with your backpack is important, but also meditation, because a Camino is not just about walking, though it's a lot about walking. It's about the mind, and the mind being okay with going for a really long walk.
That is our plan for the Via Francigena.
It's also our day walking Aullwood Audubon Society.
What a great park. I can't believe
fun.
we've never been to the Aullwood Audubon Society before. We've hiked through the edge of it a couple of times with our Dayton hiking group, but we've never actually visited the entire park. And we became members today.
Yeah, so one of our goals on our year of 50 is to make 50 donations. So we made a donation today by becoming members. We became the grandparent membership so we can take our granddaughter. So check off one of those 50 donations, which is exciting. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, comment below, subscribe. We really appreciate all of your support. What can you expect next from us?
Well, for the rest of this winter and for the spring, we are, of course, going to finish posting videos from last summer's trip, Key West to Acadia. We're going to be leaving Florida soon.
So if you're somewhere north where it's cold, enjoy our videos. They're going to make you feel all warm inside.
And we're going to continue heading up the East Coast on our way to Bar Harbor, Maine. And of course, we're also going to be interspersing in some videos with some camper updates and some winter camping, some hikes and some other things like this.
In real-time videos. Yeah.
And getting ready for our spring break practice Camino.
And so we're going to create our own Camino over our spring break and try to have what you really need in your training, which is consistent day after day, longer walks. So we'll get a full weekend.
If you're somewhere between Dayton and Cincinnati, message us or comment down below because we're looking for places to stay and we're going to need some trail angels and some support.
So make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, let us know what you think. If you've got your favorite places in Italy to visit, let us know where they are. If you can recommend restaurants or recommend villages that we definitely don't want to miss.
A village, a winery, a B&B, anywhere, northern Italy.
And north of Rome.
Yeah, so the big places we'll be stopping, Florence, Venice, and Rome. So please make sure you give us some ideas. We're hoping to have some good tourism time.
Click the subscribe button, come back and check us out every week as we continue posting at least one video a week, hopefully all the way up through the end of the school year. And then starting in June, the plan is that we're going to be posting 2 videos a week from the Via Francigena.
We'll see. That's our plan. But as you know, sometimes
Life doesn't work that way.
So thanks for following today's adventure. We'll see you on our next video.
Take an adventure with us.
Oh, yeah.
Take an adventure with us. Life's not a drag, let the cat out the bag. No time to worry or fuss. Try a new menu or wine. We'll always have a good time. Whether it's RVs or hiking, kayaks or biking. Take an adventure, take an adventure, take an adventure with us.